I am a 44-year-old woman, recently widowed. My husband passed away at the age of 48 after we spent 20 wonderful years together. During that time, we married twice, once 12 years ago and again 5 years ago, each time reaffirming our commitment to one another. Just a few weeks ago, he was diagnosed with cancer, and before we could even begin to process it, he was gone. The shock and pain of losing him were overwhelming at first, but as time passed, I found myself coming to terms with his absence. My heart now holds the cherished memories we created together, and I am learning to look forward. Even though I miss him terribly, I'm not certain if I'll ever love someone as deeply as I loved him, but I take solace in knowing he is no longer suffering. In his final months, his condition caused him immense pain, and I'm grateful he has finally found peace. Last week, his funeral brought a bittersweet sense of closure. While I felt a measure of relief, sadness lingered. My husband and I had a strained relationship with his parents, and for the last 8 years, we had no contact with them. His decision to sever ties with his family was rooted in years of mistreatment. They saw him as a source of money, offering little affection or understanding in return. Despite this, my husband was a devoted son and brother. He tried to support his parents and his younger sister, Cindy, who struggled with alcoholism. Yet his kindness was met with coldness and criticism. When we began dating, I saw how his family's behavior hurt him, and I encouraged him to prioritize his own well-being. Over time, he grew more assertive, and the rift between him and his parents deepened. Our relationship with his family reached its breaking point at a Christmas dinner we attended out of courtesy. The evening devolved into relentless criticism of my husband's new business venture. They dismissed his efforts, comparing him unfavorably to Cindy, who had unsuccessfully pursued a similar idea. Unlike her, my husband had thoroughly researched the market and built a strong foundation for his business. The dinner ended in a heated argument, and we decided to cut ties with them for good. For the next 8 years, his parents never reached out, not even when they likely knew he was battling cancer. Yet, to my surprise, they appeared at his funeral. Seeing them after all those years stirred a whirlwind of emotions. I watched them closely during the service, trying to decipher their motives. After the funeral, they approached me, though I thanked them politely for their condolences. I made it clear I didn't wish to resume contact. My husband had chosen to distance himself from them, and now that he was gone, I saw no reason to change that. At first, they maintained a facade of respect, but they soon revealed they had something to discuss. Out of curiosity, I agreed to hear them out, asking them to wait until everyone had left. I decided to listen to my in-laws outside the funeral venue. Cindy had left with the others, leaving just me and my late husband's parents. They began by explaining that they had considered visiting my husband during his hospitalization but ultimately decided against it, claiming they didn't want to burden him as his condition worsened. Their excuse rang hollow. What parent avoids their dying child out of consideration? But I had no expectations of them, so I quickly asked them to get to the point. Their hesitation confirmed my suspicion. They weren't there just to grieve. I assumed they wanted closure or to address lingering regrets, but I also suspected another motive: my husband's inheritance. I informed them that all his affairs had already been settled. Everything had been arranged legally before his passing, and it was clear that I would be the sole heir. When they finally broached the subject of the business, I saw through their intentions. They wanted Cindy involved, but I firmly refused. My husband's business had been his dream, and I had supported him every step of the way. Cindy, who had neither the expertise nor the commitment, had no place in it. After a tense silence, they shifted their focus to our home, expressing a desire to take ownership. They claimed the house was too big for me to live in alone and suggested they could move in while renting out their own property for additional income. Hearing this, I was outraged. After 8 years of silence, they showed up at the funeral, only to make such audacious demands. I told them to leave, unable to contain my anger any longer. When they protested, claiming they just wanted a calm discussion, I responded coldly. Their audacity to demand respect after years of neglect toward their son was infuriating. They accused me of manipulating my husband and cutting them off from his life. When they threatened to sue for his estate, I reminded them of the will. Everything was explicitly left to me. As I drove home, seething, I suddenly remembered the video my husband had recorded for his parents. We had prepared it together about a month before he passed. The realization hit me like a wave, and I knew I needed to show it to them. A few days later, after I'd had time to process, I went to their house unannounced. They seemed both surprised and reluctant to see me, but curiosity won out when I told them my husband had left a message for them. We sat in their living room, and I played the video. On the screen, My husband spoke candidly about the pain his parents had caused him. He detailed their favoritism towards Cindy, their dismissal of his ambitions, and their neglect during crucial moments of his life. He recounted their refusal to support his education and their extravagant indulgences for Cindy, contrasting their lack of care for him. He explained his decision to leave them out of his will, stating that their absence in his life made their absence in his legacy fitting. Finally, he addressed me, calling me his true family and thanking me for standing by him. His words brought tears to my eyes, even as I stood there with his parents, who sat speechless. When the video ended, I calmly told them that if they pursued legal action, this video would be used as evidence of his wishes. Their response was predictable. They accused me of cruelty for showing them the video while they were grieving and even suggested I had edited the footage to manipulate the narrative. Their refusal to take accountability only deepened my conviction that I had done the right thing. I left their house that day feeling a mix of emotions. While they had undeniably treated my husband poorly, they were still his family. Yet, as I reflected on his words and his pain, I reminded myself that honoring his wishes was what truly mattered. I regret showing the video to my in-laws, at least, a little. It has been a week since I visited them, and they haven't reached out to me. When I left their house that day, they were furious, accusing me of deliberately trying to hurt them. They also threatened to escalate their actions, including contesting the will. If they want to waste their time and money on a lawsuit they cannot win, so be it. Since then, I've been too busy to dwell on the matter. My primary focus has been on work and planning for the future. Grief, while ever present, has been pushed aside for now. Fortunately, my parents have been a tremendous support. They moved into my house after learning I no longer had help with household chores. My father has taken over many of the responsibilities my husband used to handle, such as paying bills and grocery shopping, while my mother takes care of cooking and cleaning. Their presence has been a source of comfort during these difficult times. Meanwhile, my in-laws decided to contest my husband's will. I learned this from my lawyer, though I wasn't particularly surprised. Shortly after, I received an email from them accusing me of using the video maliciously. They claimed it failed to deter them because they believed my husband's estate and business naturally belonged to them as his blood relatives. Their argument, while emotional, holds no weight legally. I forwarded their email to my lawyer, knowing it could serve as useful evidence. My parents suggested trying to negotiate with my in-laws to resolve the matter peacefully, but I declined. I told them I preferred to let the in-laws proceed with the lawsuit, confident that their efforts would only drain their resources. During this time, friends and acquaintances have been reaching out to express their condolences. Some who couldn't attend the funeral have been visiting, keeping me occupied and distracted from my emotions. However, the other day, when I went to my husband's office to collect some documents, the reality of his absence overwhelmed me. Standing in the place he loved, I could imagine him there, and the weight of knowing I would never see him again brought me to tears. My focus remains on ensuring our business thrives, a commitment to honor his legacy and the life we had built together. About 2 weeks after the will was contested, something unexpected happened. Cindy, my husband's sister, sent me a message asking to meet. This surprised me, given our minimal interaction and the ongoing lawsuit. I considered ignoring her, but something urged me to hear her out. I invited her over, reassured by the fact that my parents would be home. When Cindy arrived, she brought flowers and offered heartfelt condolences, saying she hadn't been able to express her grief at the funeral due to the chaos. Her demeanor was surprisingly warm, starkly different from the impression I had of her as selfish and loud during past family gatherings. She revealed she had quit drinking years ago and had worked hard to change her life. As we talked, Cindy revealed why she had reached out. She warned me about her parents' plans to harm my reputation. They intended to spread lies on social media, claiming my husband had borrowed money from them to start his business and that I was refusing to repay the debt. There was no evidence to support their claims, but their intention was clear: to pressure me through public slander. Cindy apologized for her parents' actions and for not reaching out sooner. She admitted she regretted her past behavior toward her brother but had been too ashamed to reconnect while he was alive. She broke down in tears, and my father stepped in to comfort her. When she left, calmer, I reassured her that her brother would have appreciated her efforts to change. This conversation gave me a new perspective on Cindy. While I had resented her in the past, I now saw that she, too, had suffered from their parents' lack of genuine care. Neither she nor my husband had truly received the love they deserved, and that realization filled me with sadness for both of them. I informed my lawyer about the in-laws' social media plans and decided to wait for them to act before responding. True to form, They soon made a defamatory post online. I immediately sent them a legal warning, threatening a defamation suit if they didn't take it down. To my slight disappointment, they removed the post quickly, perhaps realizing Cindy's willingness to testify against them made their position untenable. Though they continued to insist they wouldn't give up, I blocked their email address. I no longer have the energy to engage with their antics. For now, I'll let them act as they please. With Cindy no longer on their side, they've become increasingly isolated. I sincerely wish them well, not out of forgiveness, but because they seem incapable of finding peace. From this point on, I plan to focus on my own life and watch from a distance as they navigate the consequences of their actions.